Albert, when you guys faced Cruz Azul earlier this year, I'm wondering takeaways from that, looking back on that game and simply now facing them again, what you can do to get a good result here at home.
Yeah, well, I think back then, we knew we're playing home and away, and the first game was here, and I felt like, you have to take some sort of a lead going over there. We were close. I think we played a pretty good game. We got a goal disallowed, and the game ended 0-0. And that's not the best result to take on road with you. And then the game over there was, yeah, I mean, it was tough. Injuries, red cards, and yeah. And we try to, show some spirit and fight back. Down to 10 men, we got one back, but then the game was open at the end. We had to go for it, and we conceded a couple more goals. So overall, I think the first game is sort of what we're looking at right now, since we're gonna be home, and it's a one game. So yeah, we know their qualities, but we also know we're a good team at home, and we'll try and show that tomorrow.
Thank you. Albert, also before playing in the Club World Cup, you had mentioned that Cruz Azul was like one of the hardest teams that you've played against. Where do they kind of rank now after the Club World Cup matches?
Yeah, I mean, up until the Club World Cup, I would say that was the best team that I have faced since I've been in MLS. And obviously in the competitions outside of the league, like Champions League, Leagues Cup, and so on. Um, I mean, they're a fluent team. They're really good with the ball. They're hard to play without the ball. They're aggressive. So I mean, don't really want to start comparing, but probably similar type of game than Botafogo that we played. It's going to be high paced, a lot of tackles, a lot of second balls. So it's going to be a challenging game. But these are the games that we want to play, and these are the types of teams and players we want to go up against, because you want to play the best teams. And yeah, so it will be a tough game tomorrow. But as I said, we have our qualities, and especially at home, we've been doing better than at the start of the season. So I feel like yeah, this is a right kind of step for us, in terms of, if we could beat them, then it will set up good for Leagues Cup, for the remainder of Leagues Cup, but also for the rest of the season.
And then, Brian, with this kind of tournament where you could win everything and not advance, like what have your statisticians kind of come up with that maybe need strategy that you need to do to make sure that you do advance out of phase one?
Well, based on the results last night, MLS didn't do so good, so our chances, went up a little bit. But there's a but after that. We have to do the business ourselves, and I think Albert said it good. I mean, they are a top team in CONCACAF. I would say for these guys, for myself, the coaching staff, it's just as big as the Club World Cup. I mean, obviously Paris and Madrid, obviously I get it, but this is a really good team, and they showed well in Club World Cup, and we're looking forward to a little bit of a rematch and seeing if we can't entertain our fans. Well, win the game first, and also entertain the fans that show up, because I think it'll be a good game.
Brian, the early differences between the team that you face under Vicente Sanchez is that this team is probably more aggressive, but maybe not as disciplined defensively. Is that beneficial or problematic to your style of play?
No, I mean, look, Nicholas is different. Obviously, they changed coaches. A lot of the coaching changes in Mexico is a little bit faster than MLS. We obviously have a style of play. We like to possess the ball, but we're good in transition. I wouldn't call them reckless or anything. I mean, they just have good players, and they obviously like to keep the ball. Sometimes they take risks. Their goalkeeper like to take some risks in possession. So we'll try and press high up the field at the right moments, and again, see if we can get a couple goals.
And you've been in this position before, but was there any sort of special messaging to the team to the start of this tournament, either the way to approach it or anything like that?
Well, with every tournament, these guys hear it. Albert's been here long enough. Every tournament, every game is important for this club, and they get to measure themselves against, number one or number two in CONCACAF, and they'll be ready.
We'll take a couple here in the room, Georgie, and then there's a couple in Zoom as well.
Coach, you mentioned one of your objectives for this tournament was to kind of see new players on the team. Are you going to completely revamp the team? Are you going to introduce a couple of new players per game? And are you prepared to give us our lineup for tomorrow?
No, but thank you for trying. Look, we're going to put out a strong lineup for each of the 3 games. And included in that will be some young players that will get some opportunities. But again, we want to start well. Okay, this is a big game. Hope the fans come out and watch. It'll be an entertaining soccer game. I know there's been a lot of soccer so far this summer, but this will be an exciting game, and I'm going to start the strongest team I can.
This is the only regional trophy the club hasn't won yet. Do you kind of see that as extra motivation heading into this tournament to collect that trophy?
I'm not so sure. Extra motivation, like I said before, every tournament we enter, we want to do well and we want to win, or else why play the games? I mean, we're not going to just show up for no reason. These guys are too proud. It's too good of a group. They're too good of players to have. So we will go out again and, try and put on a good show and win the game.
We'll take a couple from Zoom now. Jeremiah, please take it away.
Yeah. Albert, from a player perspective, how do you guys approach this from a, minute management workload perspective? Is this something where you guys embrace the chance just to get more minutes against big teams, or is there some concern about, overwork and whatnot?
No, I mean, I said it since the start of the season, the more games you play and more often, it means the training's a little easier. And I think that's what us players like. So I'm all for every 3 days to play a game with a nice easy sessions in between. No, in all seriousness, I think, we spoke about this before Club World Cup. When you're gonna play, the top teams in the region, it's easy to get up for the game. It's easy to be motivated when we play Club World Cup all 3 games, and you don't feel as tired and you don't feel the fatigue after the game because you're just looking forward to the next one. And I think it's the same kind of mentality with this tournament. Everybody will want to play all 3 games. As coach said, there will be changes and opportunities to everybody, but at the same time, us as players, everybody has to be ready. When your name gets called upon, you have to be ready because we're gonna face good teams, and it is a tournament. So every game and every point is crucial to advancing. So, yeah.
We'll take one
And I
more.
guess just to follow up on that, follow up real fast. The fact that at least the first 3 games and potentially more after that are at home, and that these are against Liga MX teams and not MLS teams that you would be playing anyway. Does that help some in terms of the the management of it?
Not sure what you're asking in terms of management. I think it doesn't matter if we're playing MLS team or Liga MX teams in terms of preparation for the game. I think our preparation is at a high level no matter who we play, whether it's an Open Cup, MLS, Club World Cup, Leagues Cup. The preparation might be a little bit more tricky since you have 2 days to prepare for an opponent that you don't see how they play every week. You kind of, they're from a different league. So, the style is a little bit different, and you don't kind of know the habits of their coach. Does he like to rotate when it's 3-game week, and so on and so on. So there's so much information that would be a lot easier if we played an MLS team than to prepare for a Liga MX team. But as far as that goes, yeah, I mean, we've had 3 games, 3 days to get ready for a game before, so I think we know how to handle that.
We'll take
Great,
one
thanks.
more via Zoom, and then we'll do a couple of follow-ups here in the room. Orlando, please take it away.
Gracias, muy buenas tardes para el profe y para el jugador. Orlando Castellán, de Servicio Informativo en Deportes acá en la Ciudad de México. Una pregunta para cada uno, si me lo permiten. Empiezo con el jugador. ¿Para ustedes es una revancha el enfrentar el día de mañana a Cruz Azul, más allá que en la Liga de Campeones no tuvieron la suerte de estar en la siguiente ronda? Y para el profe, ¿qué tan complicado va a ser este nuevo reglamento de la Leagues Cup, el que tengan que estar ganando todos los partidos para poder acceder a la siguiente ronda? ¿Si lo hace más complicado o es un reto muy bueno para este nuevo formato de esta nueva Leagues Cup? Gracias.
The questions first to Albert. If this match feels like getting back to Cruz Azul after that Champions League game where the team could not have didn't advance, and if I may, the question to coach, if these new rules for this tournament make things a little bit more complicated, forcing wins to advance, or if that creates this format creates a good objective, a good plan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to call it revenge. I think looking at it realistically, over the 2 games we played them in Champions League, they were the better team. And that's ultimately why they have qualified. Now we are aware of the fact that it wasn't that long ago, and we're going to face the same team. And they ended up winning the whole thing. They ended up winning the Champions Cup. So I think that if anything, that gives us a little bit more motivation and a little bit more drive, that we want to beat them even more. But I wouldn't call it revenge. I don't think it was a reckless or a dirty game, the 2 games that we've played them. I think they were very competitive at a high level, a lot of tackles, but fair. So I wouldn't call it a revenge, but definitely we don't need any more motivation for tomorrow's game.
And then as far as the rules and regulations for the tournament, look, this is the new version of Leagues Cup. We played in 2021 with different rules, and then it manifested itself into something else. Now this year, 4 out of 18 teams, you're only playing against Liga MX teams for, and through the quarterfinals, the PKs going right to PKs, 3 points, 2 points, 1 points. There are a lot of rules that you have to get through. Disciplinary points. We watching some of the games last night, and some of those yellow cards, red cards, fouls that might come back to make the difference. So again, we're just learning. We're learning the new format, but again, I'm just excited to play against Liga MX teams. I think it's a good competition from a competitive standpoint between the 2 leagues.
Thank you. The answer from Albert. I wouldn't call necessarily no iba, discúlpame. No voy a definir esto como una revancha propiamente. Sí, realmente jugamos 2 partidos. Digo que Cruz Azul jugó mejor y por esto calificó. Tienes el aspecto que es un poco un rato solamente después de aquellos partidos. Y también el factor de que Cruz Azul sí adelantó y ganó la Copa. Entonces sí hay una motivación especial para ganar y jugar este partido, pero no voy a llamar de una revancha. Fueron partidos competitivos, pero también leales y bien jugados. Entonces, de nuevo, tenemos la motivación y sin necesariamente llamar de revancha. La respuesta del entrenador Brian Schmetzer. Sí, este torneo tiene nuevas reglas, una nueva versión del torneo. En realidad jugamos más atrás en 2021. También fue un formato distinto. Ahora nuevas reglas con solamente 4 equipos avanzan de 18 y el factor de que se adelanta directamente a las cuartas de finales. También tenemos que tomar en consideración los aspectos de los penales, de cómo se suman los puntos y aspectos disciplinares. Por ejemplo, ayer vimos que en algunos de los partidos las tarjetas amarillas y rojas también pueden hacer efecto. Y con todo esto, seguimos aprendiendo sobre el formato y estamos con mucha motivación para jugar con estos equipos de Liga MX y esperamos juegos bastante competitivos.
Okay, back to the room here. Thank you.
Thanks. Brian, you were talking a little bit about the discipline during the matches, and then also penalty kicks are going to be a thing. How confident are you in the team with the penalty kicks, especially some of the new players that might get into the rotation? And, how have you kind of addressed maybe some of the yellow cards, red cards, things like that to temper that?
Yeah, and we also gave up some penalties in the last couple games, Jada. Look, the players have to go out and play the game. They have to make plays. They have to, do the best that they can. We try and give them as much help as we can. We'll train penalty kicks throughout this tournament. I think it was good. It helped us last year in the playoffs. Remember, against Houston, we were very good at penalty kicks. So practicing them on a day like today, we make it competitive, team against team, and they enjoy it. They enjoy the spirit of taking penalty kicks. A lot of the guys do it after training anyway, and it keeps them sharp, both the goalkeepers and the shooters.
Couple of quick ones for each of you. Brian, we saw Paul Rothrock out there with the cast. How did he make it through the day? Okay. And then Albert, we've seen Pedro de la Vega take a huge step on the left wing these last couple games. From you in the middle, what have you seen from him out on the left that's working so well, just from your perspective?
Yeah, I think certainly the goals help. Every attacking player needs some sort of confidence, and mostly you get that from goals. And I think he scored a 2 in last 2, which is really good. But overall, he's been really sharp, even in training. Direct to goal, gets himself in a shooting position a lot more. And it's been really effective. So I think the way he played the last 2 games, we would love for him to kind of continue and then keep that kind of level all the way until the end of the season. But on the other side, he needs to stay healthy. I think that's the most important thing, that he's healthy and he'll be good.
We'll take the last 2 here, okay?
Albert, I was just wondering, it feels like this season specifically, you've been a lot more aggressive dribbling toward goal and kind of moving maybe more around, more dynamic than you have been in the past. Would you think that that's something that you're working on, or is that just maybe not the way you see it?
No, I also think that comes from, scoring a couple of goals here and there. And then I think with the way we especially played ever since the Club World Cup has ended, is really on the front foot and really attacking minded. And I think that's also the result why we have scored a quite few goals per game. Also, we want to improve the defensive side of things and not give up as many. But I think overall, the attacking players, not just myself, have that kind of mentality that we see that the goals are going in, and once you see that happen, and it's kind of like a snowball effect on everybody else. And I think everybody feels more confident towards a goal, and maybe try and risk a little bit more than we would probably do when we're going through maybe a harder spell of games. You want to be more conservative and play a little bit more safe. So as far as that goes, I think, we just also have feel how the game is going. I think the Atlanta game, the start wasn't very good and we weren't aggressive at all towards the goal. Try to some sort of get ourselves in the game by keeping the ball a little bit more, having a bit more possession. But I think after the halftime, we came out strong, and that's, we were closer to the best versions of ourselves. So I think you also have to have a feel for the game and how the game starts. The game tomorrow might start hectic. It might be so fast paced that you kind of need to just get a foot in the game and get hold of it a little bit more before you try and do all those things. So I think we as players have to kind of just get the feeling and sense how the game's going.
Let's take just one last one.
Okay. Coach, part of having these international games is having an international audience. Do you have any recommendations for people coming out of town, especially since it's Seafair weekend? And just a quick one for Albert. Looks like you guys were training with the new balls. Did you see any difference on the balls, or is it basically the same?
Seattle's beautiful in the summertime. I hope they enjoy their stay, and I hope a lot of people come visit us and watch the game. It will be entertaining.
Yeah, and as far as the balls, I mean they're brand new. So it might take a couple of days for us to train with them and just to kick them around for them to get looser and not feel as hard. But as far as the ball, I mean, they're all the same, honestly.
With that last question, we thank you both. Thank you, Coach Brian. Thank you, Albert.